I am Alicia Mena, writer, director, and producer of Las Nuevas Tamaleras.
Hello, my name is Ruby Nelda Perez, and I play Doña Juanita in Las Nuevas Tamaleras. Oh, well, the play is a beautiful story about the Latino culture and how we come together in Christmas making tamales.
After my mother passed away, I realized that the traditions that we grow up with, that are cherished by us, can be gone in an instant with that generation passing. I wanted to express how impacted I was by that, how sad that is, how necessary it is to keep our traditions. That was what impelled me to write the play, but at the same time, Ruby's mom played a tremendous part in that, and my mother as well, as representative of the characters that you see in scene 1 that opens the play, Doña Mercedes and Doña Juanita. So it was definitely to let people know that we really need to try very hard to keep our traditions. It's as hard as making tamales.
It's a very personal play because Alicia and I were both actresses in Houston. And when I met her, her mother had passed away, and we were acting. She was acting in our plays at Teatro Bilingüe in Houston. And of course, her mother had passed away, and my mother lived out in a ranch. And my mother was a mean tamalera. So I said, you know what? I'll lend you my mama, and we're gonna go to the ranch, and we made tamales. And Alicia would ask her different questions, and my mother's very animated. And she would tell you, oh no, you have to put spices in the masa. But some people, how dare you put spices in the masa? That is, unacceptable. Pero no, le echas especias. Spices go in the masa and do this and do that. And so we made 40 dozen tamales. One of the things she told me, she says, those were the best tamales we have ever made. And they were, because she was having fun and we were learning from her. And so it's so funny because Alicia plays her mom.
Well,
Really?
basically, they're archetypes, and that my mother would represent the first generation, but she was much more severe and direct about things had to be done this way, and I think her mom was archetypal as well in another generation that was the composite of the characters, and it's a much gentler, much like do it however, and that's more loving than the first generation. I put that together, but yeah, definitely.
So Alicia's characters, like maybe the turn of the century, where they still use wood in the stoves, and stuff like that, and then my characters in the 50s. So it's really funny between 3 generations, and how it changes and how it's different. Nothing is right or wrong. It's the act of doing it, and the food is art. We're cultural warriors, and preserving and presenting to people about our culture, not only for us, but for everybody.
It's very important for us to retain our traditions, very much so. So in this case, of course, the tamales were the vehicle. I wrote it in a comedic way because my philosophy is this: the pen is mightier than the sword, but the funny pen is even mightier than the regular pen. So people are drawn into the play because it's very comedic, but the message is very important. I think it's great that San Antonio has all kinds of events. The Tamalada is extremely important during this time of year. It represents everything to people.
There's a love of the Tex-Mex and the Mexican, and you have so many different cultures here in town, and we have San Antonio celebrates life, orgullo, pride. Some people they're lost, they don't have that, but San Antonio does.
Our language, our music, our food, everything that is given to us as children, that means love.
It's a respect for their elders, a respect and a love, and if they have the want and the love for it, they're going to continue it. Why not? And that's beautiful. You can't ask for it. You can't buy it. You can't buy that tradition and love of your heritage. And things might change, but your love for your culture and getting to know it is it's what makes a foundation of a human being, I think. And that has helped me throughout my whole life, and I'm very proud of it.
No, para el cólico yo siempre usé el anís, un buen té de anís.
Pues I always use hierbabuena con canela and a little bit of honey. El anís, that's for the stomach.
Bueno, pues sí, ¿qué diablos es el cólico sin un dolor de panza, dígame?
No, doña Mercedes, that's a little bit different. Babies get the colic.
Ay, es la misma cosa. ¿Qué es, doña Juanita? ¿Pasa algo por allá?
No, parecía, pero no. Nothing ever happens around here.
Sería un milagro que algo pasara por aquí.
Oh, don't be like that, doña Mercedes. At least we have peace and quiet here.
Sí, yo sé que tenemos paz y tranquilidad aquí. Pero dígame, ¿qué no se aburre un poco usted?
No, doña Mercedes, I don't get bored.
Pues yo sí. Yo sí me aburro. Y hasta de vez en cuando extraño ciertas cosas de la vida.
Doña Mercedes, you shouldn't be talking like that. Persínese.
¡No, hombre! No sea mal pensada, doña Juanita. Si lo que más extraño y me gustaría organizar aquí es una buena tamalada.
Oh, no, doña Mercedes. I don't think they would let us make tamales here in heaven.
¿Adiós? ¿Y por qué no?
Porque pues when you make tamales, siempre hay chisme. Y Saint Peter, he don't like the gossip.
Ah, pues qué lástima, porque a mí cómo me gustaría meter las manos en una buena masa. Ay, cómo me gustaba hacer tamales.
Me too. I liked it when all the women got together. Mis cuñadas, mi suegra. Oh, it was a lot of hard work. Ay, that's for sure. But it was so much fun talking. It brought us closer together. No sé cómo, pero we did. ¿Será que hay una chemical en la masa?
Pues quién sabe. Yo no sé nada de la ciencia. Si yo apenas alcancé a aprender a leer y escribir. Pero sí le digo que hacer tamales era algo que a mí me gustaba mucho. Todas las mujeres de los ranchos cercanos nos juntábamos. Mire, primero juntábamos bastante maíz y lo desgranábamos y lo molíamos en el metate para hacer el nixtamal, para luego hacer la masa. ¡Ja! Y qué buena masa hacíamos. Nosotras no nos andábamos con medias tazas. Después los hombres mataban un marranón gordotototote y le sacábamos el sebo para la manteca. Ay, pues todavía faltaba juntar la leña para cocer los tamales. No, si era un trabajal y todavía faltaba hacer los tamales. Pero así éramos las mujeres en mi día. La mujer de la época porfiriana era muy trabajadora. Y fíjese, con todo y el trabajo que nos costaba hacer tamales, como quiera lo extraño, de veras que sí.
Bueno, I miss it too. Pero mis comadres y mis suegras, pues, we didn't have to work as hard as you did. We didn't have to grind that corn to make the masa. In my day, you could already go to the molino and buy it. Y para la manteca, pues al H-E-B.
¿Comprar la masa? Ni lo mande Dios. Bueno, ¿de veras no cree que nos dejen hacer tamales aquí?
No, doña Mercedes. I don't think they would let us.
Pues, qué lástima.
My name is Miss Anna. I'm with the San Antonio Public Library, and today we're going to read Growing Up with Tamales by Gwendolyn Cepeda, illustrated by April Ward. My name is Anna. Every year, my family makes tamales for Christmas. This year, I am 6, so I get to mix the dough, which is made of cornmeal. My sister Lydia is 8, so she gets to spread the dough on the corn husk leaves. I wish I was 8, so that my hands would be big enough to spread the dough just right, not too thick and not too thin. When I turn 8, I will be big enough to do many new things. I will read big words, I will reach high places, and I will ride my bike without training wheels. And when Christmas comes around, I will spread the dough on the corn husks. But when I am 8, Lydia will be 10, so she will get to fill and roll the tamales. I wish I was 10, so I could know just the right amount of meat to put inside. Not too much and not too little. When I turn 10, I will know so many things. I will know all the words to the songs on the radio. I will know all 50 states. I will know all the names of the birds that sing from the trees as I ride my bike to school. And when Christmas comes around, I will fill and roll the tamales. But when I am 10, Lydia will be 12, so she will get to steam the tamales. I wish I was 12, so I wouldn't be scared of burning myself with the hot, hot steam. When I turn 12, I won't be scared of anything. I won't be scared of the shadows in our room at night. I won't be scared of bees. I won't be scared of Mrs. Garcia's dog when it chases my bike. And when Christmas comes around, I will steam the tamales. But when I am 12, Lydia will be 14. So she will get to chop and cook the meat for the tamales. I wish I was 14, so Mommy would trust me with the stove and the knife. When I turn 14, people will trust me with everything. My cousins will let me carry their babies without having to sit on the couch. Papi will let me water his plants by myself when we stop at the gas station. Mommy will let me work the credit card buttons and pump the gasoline. And when Christmas comes around, I will chop and cook the meat. But when I am 14, Lydia will be 16. So she will get to drive to the store and buy the meat, the corn husks, and the cornmeal while Mommy sits in the car and watches. And when we finish cooking tamales, Lydia will get to deliver them to Grandma, our cousins, and our neighbors. I wish I was 16 so I could drive Mommy's car. When I turn 16, I will drive everywhere. I will drive to the movies every weekend, and I will drive to the ice cream shop so Mommy and I can share a banana split. And when Christmas comes around, I will drive to the store and deliver tamales. But when I am 16, Lydia will be 18. So what will she do? Will she have a job? Will she go to school far away? Will she live in her own house and make her own tamales? I wish I was 18. What will I do when I turn 18? I know I will keep making tamales. I will buy the cornmeal, the corn husks, and the meat. I will mix and spread the dough. I will cook the meat and fill them. I will roll and steam the tamales. I will do it all in my very own factory. And when Christmas comes around, I will deliver tamales to Grandma, to my cousins, to my neighbors, and to all my customers around the world in my delivery truck that says Ana's Tamales. And when I am 18, Lydia will be 20. If she wants to, she can come and work for me. The end. I hope you all really enjoyed the reading of Growing Up with Tamales.
I think that the language of culture is the most important thing. And so when you have the language or the vocabulary of food, it describes where you live, when you grew up, and also what surrounded you.
I consider my legacy to be that of teaching. We have to teach those that come after us, the next generation, to ensure that our culinary history is known and appreciated, and that the more we learn about our foods, the more we will learn about ourselves.
The molino has always been very important to most Mexican and Latin American communities because it's a way for people to have corn tortillas every day for their meals. So they would cook the corn at their house, bring it to their local molino where they would grind the corn for them, and they would take the masa home and make their homemade tortillas or tamales there at the house. The first step to the nixtamal process is receiving the corn. We receive the corn in our silo here. We take about 30,000 pounds of corn at a time. It takes roughly 4 to 6 weeks for us to empty out the silo and to get a refill. Our corn comes from La Crosse, which is just south of San Antonio. So it's all locally Texas grown grain. So our next step, we're gonna go ahead and use our pump system to bring the corn from the silo here into our corn cooking tank. So as when we cook the corn, we use lime as our agent. Once our corn is filled up to the spot, we'll go ahead and move it into position where we'll fill it with water and we'll start the cooking process. So once we have the water into the corn tanks, we'll go ahead and start cooking the corn. This one I'm cooking here in the back. So we have the lime already in there, which is giving it that yellow tint, which is also going to help break down the shell of the corn, which is going to make it nice and soft when we actually grind it into the corn masa. So once the corn is cooked, we transfer the corn into our cooling tanks. Here the corn will sit for 12 to 24 hours as it cools down, gets more to room temperature. After the corn has cooled, we'll go ahead and move it over to our rinsing station. Where the rinsing station, we're gonna remove that excess lime that has sat with the corn. So I'll go. So the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and rinse the corn. This is gonna get all that excess lime off the corn and give it that natural sweet taste of the white corn. So next step, we'll go ahead and fill our hopper. Inside the molino, we have two 14-inch volcanic stones, which is going to grind the corn. As it falls into the bin, it turns into masa, which is going to be the Spanish word for dough. So as the corns come out, we'll go ahead and test it. Make sure it's nice and coarse for the tamales. So now we have our masa here in our bin. The next step we'll do is we'll weigh it for the customers to their desired weight of poundage, and then they'll go ahead and take home the masa, and they'll prepare it themselves to make homemade tamales.
See you next year, right? Well, we just came back from the molino and brought this beautiful, beautiful masa. And look at this masa. Look at the color of it. Now, how do we get it from this to something we can spread on an hoja? Something like that. Well, first of all it is corn that's been soaked in lime, like I said, and boiled and then ground. So it's pure. It's pure, pure. So we got to add something that makes it taste good. It won't taste good just by itself. So first of all, I think what you want to add is some salt, right? What would you say? How much salt?
It's about 6 teaspoons of salt and a little bit of baking soda, right?
Oh, that's right. And why do we need the baking soda?
So you want it to have a nice little aerated leavening agent that's in that tamal. And we need to add some flavor in here.
So you add in the salt and the baking powder and you mix it up very, very well. Well, now we need to add what?
So we're gonna add some Chile Enchil puree.
Oh, okay. And this is beautiful. Look at that color. How did we make this?
So we boiled some Chile Enchils until they were nice and soft and pliable, and we took out the seeds and the stem and then put them in a blender with a little bit of fresh water. Yes. And then just pureed it till it's nice and smooth, and it kind of echoes the pork that's going to be in our tamal later.
So remember that. It's got to echo the flavors that you have in your tamales. So now, so that the tamal does not stick to the hoja, we want to make sure that it has some lard in it. Look at that gorgeous, gorgeous lard. And this is pure lard. See how it is? Where does this come from?
So you can get that at the molino, but you can also ask the butcher at your grocery store where you can find some fresh lard, but you don't really want to use Crisco or shortening just because it's got hydrogenated oils, and this is kind of a pure ingredient. So anytime you can get an ingredient this pure, it's nice to use. It goes great with the other localized flavors. So that's really what our ancestors did. They used what they had. So they used the corn that they had, they used the dried corn shuck that they had, and then they used the lard and then the pork.
And all of this has a rich history, thousands of years. So the color is getting there, isn't it?
Yes.
But it's not quite there. So what do I need to add to it?
So a little bit of chicken broth or pork broth, depending on what you're gonna fill your tamal with. So I like usually adding chicken broth, no matter if it's gonna have beef or pork, just because it's a nice neutral flavor, and so everything just stands out a lot better.
Hey, look at this. Isn't it getting good?
Coming together.
It's coming together. It's no longer this big, thick piece of masa that we got. We crumbled it up and we added all of the ingredients to it. But now the secret to making good masa for good tamales is that you have to knead it or amasarlo.
So with kneading, you're gonna actually develop gluten, like with flour. And amasar, we're really mixing in the ingredients and we're adding air into our masa, because you don't want a dense tamal once you finish up. So the masa is the most important ingredient in a tamal.
Oh, because that is the firm foundation. So the secret to a good masa is to have as much air put into it. Oh my goodness, it's getting there. But do you think it's red enough? I think it needs a little bit more, don't you think? And besides that, the flavor of this chile ancho is just, smell it.
I like chile anchos because they're a little bit sweet. Like a dried raisin almost. So
Yeah.
a nice meaty chili.
Look at that. Yeah, there you go. See how you, that's a good way to look at it. It's like adding jam to this. So now we're going to amasar the chili in there because we want a good color and we want a good consistency. So now we also have to taste it. We have to taste it because we have to know, is there enough salt in it? So, I think mine needs a little bit more salt. What do you think?
It's very good, but we could use a little more salt.
A little more salt never hurts anything, does it? So we'll just add more salt to it. And remember, it is to your taste. Do you see the masa coming together in amasando it?
About how long do you do this for usually?
Until I finish telling all my stories. So if I finish you can't over amasar. So the more you do it, all we're doing is putting air in it. And so you got to spread your legs apart, get those arms going, and start making the masa.
That's a good workout.
So try it there. Now, okay, now beat it, get air in it. There you go, from the back to the front, to the middle, and it's getting there. It's still different from this one. See how this one is not fluffy like that yet. So keep putting more air in it. Okay, and so we get our workout, and then we tell the stories of, hey, and the gossip, the chisme, that's so important. And doesn't it also encourage us talking and
Absolutely, and getting together and spending the day together. And I always say, you pass down your family history through food, and food memories are some of your strongest memories.
That's
so
true.
Why not create these memories for your family?
That's so true. So true.
I think my masa's about done.
Let's see, how can you tell?
Well, it's spreading nicely. If this was my hoja, look at that.
Oh, I just learned something new. So you spread it on your hand. You know what I do? I get this piece and I put it on the back of my hand to see if it sticks, and it doesn't stick, so it means it has enough lard in it. But I love what you just taught me. So you spread.
That means it's going to spread nicely on the hoja, and then we'll be ready for our next step.
Oh, cariño, learning always can occur. Isn't that wonderful?
I think a tamalada, a gran tamalada of hundreds of people, or a tamalada in your home with just your family, has a very important function, and that is to teach the little ones, and to teach the teenagers, and to even teach us, the older generation, about what it is we're eating and why we're eating it and what we're eating.
My name is Cariño Cortez, and I am a chef by trade. And I got started in the restaurant business because my grandparents opened a restaurant way back in 1941, so it's been almost 80 years. That restaurant's called Mi Tierra, and my grandfather was an immigrant from Guadalajara, Jalisco. And when he moved to San Antonio and met my grandmother, they bought a tiny little restaurant, just a counter and 3 little tables, and they opened that restaurant up. And so now, fast forward to today, we see almost 1 million guests a year, and we serve traditional Mexican foods and Tex-Mex cuisine, and we really live out our traditions through our menu. Tamales have been part of our family's tradition since I was a little girl. Not only is it a food that comes from our Mexican culture and heritage, it is one of those traditions. So a tradition that gets passed down, and each generation adds a little something to the process and to the recipe for each family. I just thought that was really important to preserve that history and that cultural tradition. It's more than just cooking a meal for the end of the day. It's about getting together with family, sharing stories and chisme, that's called gossip, and getting to sit down with one another and share in the experience. So you're talking and you're laughing and you're enjoying yourself. You're creating memories for your family. My family's known Dr. Clark for a very long time, and she has hosted La Gran Tamalada for 15, 20 plus years, and she's been making tamales for even longer than that. So she is known in San Antonio as La Mera Mera Tamalera, which is the best tamal maker, and she's earned that title. And she started La Gran Tamalada several years ago, which is an event that shows the community the importance of making tamales. And about 5 or 6 years ago, when I first moved back to San Antonio, she invited me to be one of the comadres and to add a little bit more to the Tamalada. So since then, we grew it to a festival where we would have lots of different tamales. We would have tamal making workshops, lecture series about the importance of making tamales and how it's done and the history of that. San Antonio was recently named one of the few cities in the world that's an UNESCO Creative City of Gastronomy. And what that means is that we've preserved our cultural traditions and foods in a unique way that we stand out amongst a lot of other cities. And so making sure that we have tamaladas, which are one of the unique foods that we have, and keeping those traditions alive is really important for us.
Well, cariño, we're ready to make the filling for our tamales. What kind are you going to make?
So we're going to start with our pork shoulder. It's cubed up like this, and I'm going to put it, we're going to use a little modern technology. Have you used one of these before?
Never seen one of those.
So it's a modern pressure cooker. This is my Instapot, and so it's going to cook the meat and make it really tender and juicy, but it's going to take a fraction of the time.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to put this in here first. And then I'm going to have our handy dandy molcajete, not so new and modern, but it works, and it's the best way to grind our spices.
And do you know that comes from volcanic rock in Mexico, exactly like the indigenous used to use it. So you're using a 1,000-year-old instrument right next to a modern day technology.
And they work together beautifully. So I have the peppercorns and I have comino seeds, and you want to grind them because it releases the oils and the essence of the spice. If you just put them in there like that, it just really wouldn't work very well because you need those oils to be released from a dried spice.
I can smell them. Oh, I can smell the comino and the pepper.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't work just in the blender. You do have to grind it.
You do have to grind it.
Okay, bring those ancestors out.
So we put that in there, and then some salt generously. You want to bring out the flavors of the pork right here.
And don't forget, you can't over flavor it. No.
And so the traditional chile that's in the red chili pork is chile ancho, that
Like
dried
this
poblano.
one?
Yes,
These?
exactly like that.
Oh, and so how do you make these?
So with those, you're going to boil those in water whole. And so once they're nice and pliable and rehydrated, go ahead and take the seeds and the stems out, and then put them in a blender with fresh water. Don't use the water that you boiled them with. And so once you blend it till smooth, you're gonna get a little pot, an olla, and add a little bit of lard in there and pour the puree in there. And it's gonna deepen in color about 3 shades darker. So you're gonna get something like this.
Deepen in flavor too.
Deepen in flavor
Yes.
too.
So you can use my 61-year-old blender because it's really the best way to get them to that puree.
Absolutely. And so this is all that flavor. So we had our Chile ancho in here, and then I'm gonna add my broth. And so when you have leftover broth, when this is done cooking and after you've shredded it, you can save that and use it for pozole, or you can add it to your masa. You can freeze it.
So again, natural broths.
So I'm gonna close this. Do you wanna tell me what you're gonna be making?
I'm gonna be making my favorite tamal. And that's chicken ones. Chicken ones with chile poblano, but green, not dry. So this is a little different. It's the same chile, but it's fresh. And tomatillos, and garlic, and lots of cilantro. But then I add big old jalapenos to it just to give it more flavor. So the tomatillo is the basic one that's gonna give it that tangy flavor to the white meat that probably doesn't have it. Do you know what these are?
Fruits?
It's a fruit. It's not really a tomato, but it is another type, and we use them a lot in Mexican cooking. But the best way to do them, you can either steam them, or my favorite way is to roast them. And you roast them until they're a little bit toasty. Just do them in the oven, or you can do it on your comal, along with the chile. So everything gets roasted, gets put into my blender, turn my technology, turn it over, and then we're gonna mix it with the white chicken, or the chicken, breast of the chicken. And this you can use a rotisserie chicken, you can steam the chicken in your Instant Pot and get it ready, then shred it. And then once we do that, we're gonna put it in a bowl, put all the chicken in there, and then we're gonna add the magic touch of all of the tomatillo in there. So we're going to blend. Look at this. Watch it. Oh, isn't that look at that color. The color has not just as light green, but it also has that sautéed look of when we sautéed the chiles. So that's going to make it even better. Turn on your fire. And by the way, I'm using my modern technology, which is an olla, the same way the indigenous used to do it. Does a beautiful job of heating it in a different way. It's just not that you can maintain the heat better. So then you saute it for a while and let that wonderful flavors just blend in there. And remember, we're layering. So it's chicken, it's tomatillo with the chile, and then the only other spice was that jalapeno, and we're going to put some salt in there. So as long as you flavor it with the salt and then just let it cook for a while, it's already out of the Instant Pot. So here it's just accumulating flavors, developing the flavors. So those are my favorite ones.
What other types of fillings could people use?
Well, you always run out. There's enough, we ran out of chicken, so then go grab your beans. Just freshly cooked beans, smash them up, or put them in the blender, I guess. But I just like to mash them up with a little bit of lard, and add jalapenos to them. That just kicks it. And then you can add cheese to them also.
It looks like our fillings are all ready, and so we're ready for our last step. Can't believe it's time.
So I started making tamales here at our home in 1960. So I've been at it for quite a few years. I started making them just with my family. And then I have a very small family, so I figured out we needed more people. So I invited my friends, my neighbors, and my students, my colleagues, to come help make tamales. So we made them here at the house, 30, 40 years. And then it became so big, I would make 150 pounds of masa with equivalent meat. You cannot imagine the amount of work it took. So it became an all-day party, but I just couldn't handle it anymore. So then I thought, I'll just take it on a larger level and take it to the community. I was a board member at the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center, and approached him with the idea of doing a Tamalada there to teach the community about the history of it, because the community surrounding it made tamales every year. So they liked the idea, and I started making tamales at the Guadalupe for a group, you know, the community. And then it grew and grew and grew. So then it acquired the name of the Gran Tamalada at the Guadalupe. So about the same time, with a colleague, Carmen Tafoya, we wrote a book. She said, "You've got to put it all together in a book, Ellen." So we consequently did the tamale book, and that then became the basis for what we did at the Guadalupe. So it was a demonstration, a history lesson, a play, and so forth. So then we did that at the Guadalupe, I would say about 10 years. And for me, I'm a teacher, so it means I teach one group of people, and then that group teaches the next. That's how you make a legacy. That's how you keep a tradition lasting. So I knew that I had to turn it over to someone else that could carry on that tradition. The Gran Tamalada was not Ellen Rojas Clark. The Gran Tamalada was San Antonio's way of making our culinary delight. So that's when I had met Cariño Cortez, a trained chef who really knew how to cook, who came from four generations of culinary history of making Tex-Mex food and Texas Mexican food. So I invited her to help me, and she became the partner. I put a crown on her, I got my great big spoon, and I christened her on both sides that she was then the next generation. And that became the formalized Gran Tamalada. Then the Guadalupe couldn't hold us because they could only hold 300 people. So then we went to the Mercado. So then it was open to everybody, including tourists and so forth. So it became a community-wide, a city of San Antonio, Gran Tamalada.
Alma Hernandez from the San Antonio Public Library, and today I'm going to show you how to use your Gran Tamalada craft kit to make 2 fun and easy crafts that celebrate the Tamal tradition. Let's get started. Inside of your kit, you will find a few supplies. You'll find a child-size apron, a ball of Play-Doh, some corn husks. You'll also find a piece of felt fabric or shiny paper such as this. You'll need to provide some supplies too that are pretty easily found around the house. You'll need a large bowl, some lukewarm water, a pair of scissors, and a spoon. If you have all of that gathered, we can go ahead and get started with our first craft. To begin, we will put our lukewarm water inside of our large bowl. Now we will get our corn husks and place them inside of the bowl, making sure that they're all the way in, all the way covered in water. Now after about 10 minutes, your corn husks will become nice and malleable or easily moved with your hands. Okay, so we'll move our big bowl to the side. We'll be able to take our corn husks out of the water, shaking off any excess. And with our first craft, what we're going to do is we're gonna lay our corn husk down and we will grab our Play-Doh, and we can now begin to practice and learn how to spread our masa on our corn husk. And so you can play with it in your hands. You can try hand spreading it onto your corn husk or using your spoon to spread it. We'll try that first. Maybe using our hands. And now learning how to fold our tamal. We're gonna bring in both sides, like so, and then fold up, just like that. To finish off, we can get a little bit more of our corn husk leaf. Roll it up, like that. And tie a nice bow. Like that. Got to do that again. We will grab our corn husk, our Play-Doh masa. Depending on the color of masa you have, you can pretend either, if you have the pink masa, that you have tamales dulces or sweet tamales. Maybe you have green masa, so you can pretend you have tamales de rajas con queso. Talk to your grown-ups about what kind of tamal you are making as you spread your masa onto your corn husk. Now, once again, we're going to bring these in on both sides. Our pointy end, we're gonna bring it up, like so. We'll need, definitely, a thinner piece to hug all around it. Tied in a nice little bow like a present. And there is a Play-Doh tamal. For our next craft, I'm going to show you how to make a corn husk doll like this one using your corn husks. You'll want to get your big bowl full of lukewarm water that has your corn husk soaking. Take the rest of them out. Squeeze off any excess water, or you can use a towel to soak up any excess like this. Go ahead and put your bowl of water off to the side. I'll want to get my corn husks and stack together between 2 to 4. Make a nice stack. And we're going to also pick up another corn husk husk and tear it into thinner strips, like this. You'll notice that the corn husks that you originally had were very hard, very tough, not very flexible, but after soaking for just a little while in the water, very easy to move with our hands. And so, putting our thinner strips off to one side, I'll grab my stack of corn husks, pinch the very top like this, and I'm going to grab one of my strips to make a knot right at the top, holding my corn husks all together. Just like that. Making your knot to secure it. And now you can cut away any excess with your scissors. This is what you should end up with. Now, flipping it over, grab your knot like this, and we're going to peel away our corn husks, bringing them down to the opposite direction, like so. Squeezing them together, and now pinching just below the top, you can grab another thin piece of corn husk to wrap around and form another knot. Tying it and securing it to make sure it does not pull away. Now you can use your scissors to cut off any excess. And so this forms the head and body of what's going to become our corn husk doll. But you might notice that something's missing. Any corn husk doll needs arms. And so what we're going to do now is grabbing another corn husk, folding it down just like this. We're going to feed it right in the middle of the bottom end of our doll's body. Moving it on up as close as we can to that knot we tied at the top. And we'll get another thin strip of our corn husk, and once again, securing it all together with a knot, tying it around the back. So if you see here, this is how I'm tying it into just a simple little knot, cutting off any excess corn husk with my scissors. And I also want to make the arms on both sides even, and so cutting off any excess here as well. So now I have my head, my body, 2 arms. I'll want to cut off any excess corn husk from the bottom too, just to make it all even, so our corn husk doll is standing nice and tall. Head, body, 2 arms. But it is missing something. I think we need an outfit. And so that's where our felt fabric or our shiny paper comes into play. And so we're going to grab our felt paper. We can go ahead and fold it in half like this. Cut it about down the middle. And then we're going to cut a half circle right at the crease, creating an opening like so. Then we'll want to create some fringe at the bottom of what's beginning to appear like a small poncho or a sarape for our corn husk doll. That's what it should look like. Now, you can bring your corn husk doll and fit its head right down the middle, like so. If you have some felt left over, what you can do is cut down the long end like this to create a nice long belt that you can tie around your corn husk doll's waist. Like so. And so that's what it would look like if you have felt fabric in your kit. Now let me show you how to do the same with your shiny paper if that's what you found in yours. Similarly, with our shiny paper, what we would do is cut it down the middle. We can go ahead and fold this in half. Cut a small half circle. And then add some fringe at the bottom to create our poncho. that. And then fit it over the head of our corn husk doll to create a nice festive outfit. Thank you so much for crafting with me today. I hope you had fun making your very own Play-Doh tamales and corn husk dolls. Crafting in comunidad is so much fun and it helps us learn more about the tamal tradition. Have fun at the rest of La Gran Tamalada, and remember, SAPL is here for you. Visit us at www.mysapl.org and learn more about our resources and the plethora of books that are available for checkout. Until next time.
Tamales have a long history. I think that was the most amazing thing for me as an adult, to find out that I could make a food that had thousands of years behind it. A tamalada was not so much about the product or that we were going to make a tamal to eat, but it was in the process of making this tamales.
Now for the fun part.
This is the magic. Now we're going to put together a tamal, and we'll make lots of tamales. So first of all, at the grocery store, you buy hojas. Hojas are shucks, and they come dry, but they're beautiful, already cleaned and everything, but they're dry. So what we need to do, cariño, is for you just soak those, right? And why did we soak them?
You want them to be pliable, and then also they're going to steam, so it adds another layer of insulation so that the masa and everything steams in here so nicely.
Oh, wow. And so then there's an art to picking the hoja. So the hoja has to be, it's got a natural thing. It's rounded. So lay it on your hand. I put the wide part to the bottom and the narrow part on top. How do you do yours?
I do it the opposite
way.
way.
Opposite. Oh, well. But anyway, remember she already showed us when the masa is ready. I use a knife. What do you use?
I use a spoon, and I've even seen people use these things called Tamal scrapers, and they're basically like spackling.
Exactly. Now, the other thing that I've figured out is I like masa. I love the flavor of masa. So I might make mine a little bit thicker on the masa, though my mother liked exquisite tamales and hers had to be very thin and pencil thin. But this is how I put it, kind of like a rectangle. I don't do it all the way to the bottom because I don't like for the masa to, come out of the hoja. So I make like a big rectangle, and these are my chicken ones. So then I'll put some chicken, maybe about a spoonful. Do you think that's enough or too much?
No, I think that's good. And I think people should know that you only go up about 2/3 of the way. I've seen people try to go all the way to the edge and then you can't fold it.
So make a rectangle, and mine probably could be a nicer rectangle. Then what I do is grab hold of them like this, and then I go like this, and then I just roll it.
Oh, I like that.
And then when you open them up, it's a round one like a machine made. And then, do your meat.
Okay, so I put about this much right in the middle, and I like that little bit of extra masa around the edges, and I do this because, and I kind of...
Okay, you fold it over like an envelope. Okay.
And you pinch it right here.
Yes. And then which way do you fold it? Do you go back?
No, I go kind of where it naturally will fall like this.
Okay, like this. Well, I do it to the back because it makes it straighter, and then it holds its shape there, and then we line them all up in here. So let's make a couple more, and then Maria is going to show us how to put them in the pot.
It really is an art to make them look so beautifully shingled in there. It's so nice.
Oh, Maria, can you come show us how to put them in the pot? And let me give you another hint, and that is you have to have somebody who knows how to put them in the pot, because otherwise it becomes a mess. And so for them to cook properly, now watch, she makes like a teepee. You put one at the bottom, Maria, and then you put that one on the top, and then she starts lining them up. And you don't need to put that cup in the middle like you used to. Look how beautiful she does.
Remember before you'd have to turn a bowl upside down?
Yes, yes. We cook all our meat ones and our chicken ones all in the same pot.
I usually put them in different pots because they release different flavors. The Chile ancho and the poblano, they have different aromas. So I like putting them in different pots. And do you want to know a trick that my grandmother taught me? She would put a penny heads up on the bottom of the pot in the water. And one, that was for good luck, but then also you would know if it started to rattle that people were lifting the lid and the water was gone so that they wouldn't burn.
By the way, do you ever lift up the lid?
No.
No.
So we put a pot on that's only one person has put all the tamales in. By the way, remember when we look at our hoja, it's got a natural drop, that it comes like this, but also you feel it to see which is a soft side. It's got a smooth side because the rib side, if you put the masa where the ribs are, that sticks on there. So you want to make sure that it doesn't stick to the hoja. And the hoja is shuck. Once it's been stacked up evenly, not overcrowded, and leaving space in the middle from the little teepee, you want some air to be you want the steam to come up along the sides. Then you get a secador. That's a Spanish word for a dish towel. Pick a nice one. Pick one with a little lace on it that your great-grandmother made, or pick one like this one that's my granddaughter painted it, and we use it on the pot that's making her favorite tamales, which are the pork ones. And so then you wet it, the dishcloth, and you put it around so that the whole thing is covered. And then you just put the lid on it, and in this modern day pot that tells you how to get the measurement for the water, you pick, it's heavy. You pick it up and you put it on the stove. It takes 2 people to do that.
And this has a little steamer pan right here, and then water on the bottom to this line.
And so you don't have to worry about the penny. But I would put the penny just because it's a tradition. And so heads up, right, you said?
Heads up for good luck.
Oh, heads up for good luck. And also that if you hear it rolling, it's got water.
Yeah, it's almost out of water and you need to add more. Your tamales will burn.
Then you turn on the fire, and really it should be at a good boil. Is that too much?
Let me see.
No?
That's good.
That's perfect. So put on a big flame on there and put the top on it. Don't open them, cariño. Wait. Takes about an hour for a pot of tamales to be ready. And you'll start smelling them. And then when they're ready, just be ready for a good one.
Have your salsas ready, your drinks.
It's been an hour, cariño. We get to try the first tamal to see if it's done.
Part.
And there's another tradition. The matriarch tastes the first one. And so you pick out a tamal. Oh, it's nice and hot. It's kind of hot, but that's okay. And you open it up and see how it opens up, and then watch how it's done. Look. It has to roll out like this. Your tamal is done. That means it had enough lard in there and it was able to just slide out. So let it cool a little bit and then roll it out. If it sticks to the hoja, they're not done. So make sure you have water and steam them a little bit more. Okay, so I am the matriarch, so I get to taste the first tamal and proclaim the good tamal for this year.
Is it good?
Enough salt, not too much lard. The flavors are mingling. Now I'm tasting the comino, pepper, and that pork. It's delightful. Oh my gosh, the chile poblano is what makes a good tamal. So, you are the next one to take a bite of the other side. There. ¿Cómo está?
I know what you mean now.
Well, now we've got plenty of tamales, so we can invite our friends over.
Ready? All we need is salsa, coffee, and tamales, and ready to have a good time and celebrate our good efforts. Wonderful. We need an abrazo for this. Oh, you did a marvelous job. And thank you for teaching me some tricks.
Oh yeah, anytime.
Thank you.
I think there's no right or wrong way to make tamales. A good tamal is the one that sparks up your memory, that this tastes like what my mom made, or my tia made, or my grandmother made. So that is the right way. So everybody's memory, culinary memory, is different.
One of the things people always say is, I wish I would have learned how to make something from my grandmother. And a lot of times, you know, you didn't capture that recipe just right, or that memory is not the same because you didn't learn those things. And so it's really important to me that, you know, people are able to hear from someone that's been making tamales for decades and decades, just how it's done, so that they can pass on those traditions to their kids and their families and future generations. I want to teach my children that having these traditions are very important, because it's not just about getting a food. You know, I could go buy tamales somewhere else, anywhere, even pick them up from our own restaurant. But knowing the efforts and how everything comes together, from the grinding of the corn to the making of the fillings and the filling of the tamales, it's all a process, and it's really important to know where it comes from and why it was created that way.
The Tamalada is so important to San Antonio because it is San Antonio. It is our history to make tamales. And to make tamales requires to bring together a group of people to do it, which is a Tamalada. San Antonio needs to know what its culinary history is, be able to describe it and articulate it as such. This is what San Antonio is. Tamales are part of our culinary history because it goes back hundreds and thousands of years. So this is who we are. As soon as we can declare that, then San Antonio can say we are unique in the mere fact that we're not only eating a food, but preparing a food that has hundreds and thousands of years in its history. There's not many other places in the United States that can claim that. Our city will always recognize the importance of our culinary history and recipes, and that the most foremost one is the making of tamales, because it has the longest history of all. Of all, that is the one that really embodies the full history of who we are and why we are and where we are.